Hello, you look. You playing a little bit of music then?
Yeah.
Playing a little bit of music. I've just done an unboxing video and got a few extra bits and bobs in the box that I wasn't quite expecting, and so I've got some servos, and I only was expecting an engine and a partially assembled car, but I've got a few extra things. Wait, what are you doing? I think we'd see if these servos actually even work. We've got two servos there, look. But we'd see if they actually even work, and we'll have a look at a little servo tester that I found in the cupboard the other day. So, got these couple of servos. We'll need a battery. Oh. Where's a battery? Look. Now the other day, I bought this a while ago, but completely forgotten all about it, and I come across it in a little box thing. It's a servo tester, and had a few of these in the past, but actual branded ones that you buy from an RC model shop. This one I've given those away, you know, because people need a servo tester, so I've given them away. But I've had this Chinese one for. Can you stop doing that? Everyone's going to complain. They're going to be like, that noise in the background's annoying. Can't you like play with something that's not quite so noisy? Can you play with something that's not quite so noisy?
No.
That's it, you play with them. That might not be so noisy. I'll put them over there.
Oh.
Right, I can play with some spanners instead now. Anyway. So I had this in the box for a while. It's like a Chinese one. Little knob on there, you can have it in auto, manual or neutral mode. It tells you all the things you can do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, spanner, yeah.
Where go?
What?
There.
Number 6. That's a 6mm spanner.
Where go?
With nothing to do, we haven't got any 6mm. So let's zoom in a little bit. And the idea being that you plug your battery negative. It doesn't actually say what size is negative. Yes, it does. That size negative. So there we go. You plug your battery in, and you get your lights light up. Look at that. And you've got a button here which you press, and that goes between the 3 different modes.
Oh.
Yeah, oh, yeah, very nice. Right, let's test it. Look, you like this. Look, when I plug this servo in, you'll like this.
Yeah.
If it works, right? And then you plug your servo in.
That.
Wait, that way round. And at the moment, we've got it on auto mode. And the servo's working. So we can put it on manual mode, and I can move this knob and it'll move the servo to where I want it. Do you want to go?
Yeah.
Right. That's it. Just turn that little knob there.
Okay.
Turn that little knob. Turn the little knob then. No, then turn it. Like that.
Oh.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
He likes that. So this one works. It's not particularly fast, and it's supposed to be a Metal Gear servo, but we know that it works, which is good. What happens if you plug that one down there? Nothing. It's exactly the same. Back in the middle. I may even do 3 servos at a time. Right, let go. Right, so we've got another servo. This is a HPI one. Let's plug this one in.
What?
And see what this one does. This one's a lot quicker. But we know that it works. And we can centre it to the middle, pressing the neutral button, and it centres it straight to the middle, and the input does nothing anymore. And we can do automatic. And it automatically goes all the way around. That's good. And both of these servos work, although They're slow. This is a 6 kilogram power servo, metal geared. Right. Do you like that?
Nope.
Well, I don't want you playing with the tester really, because
No.
you'll probably break it then. Well, there you go. At least we know that them servos work and the tester works. Oh, we've got a little bit of a mess. We're back again now. It's always a little bit crazy when the minions are out here with me, especially minion number 2, because he's got so much energy. He's like a little hurricane, just swooping round. But anyway, we know these servos work, so they're handy. This engine I also got, but one of the things that I wanted to quickly show you lot, got a few questions about it, was the throttle. There must be a bit of a spate of people getting their Savages out all of a sudden, because I've had a few, probably 4 or 5 private messages asking about the throttle linkage on the Savage. So we'll take the shell off this one in a minute, but the bit that we're interested in is this part in here. So I think I've done it in the past, but I'll have to do an updated, better version of how to set the throttle trim and how to set your linkages up and everything properly on a Savage in particular. But for the bit that we're interested in at the moment is this little link here, because this is the one that people always overlook and don't realise how much of a part that it actually plays, you know, in the throttle. So obviously on the Savage you've got your brake and your throttle obviously on one servo, as most nitro cars are, but they're set up like this. Your brake and your throttle are and the same, they're on different horns, but they're at the same angle, and obviously when you brake, the brake goes forward, but the throttle one just kind of goes like that. I can't show you because there's no radio gear in this Savage at the moment. So this little linkage here, it's important that you play around with the trims. As I said, I will do a full video showing how to do the trims on the transmitter as well as the linkages together. But for the time being, I think most of you pretty pretty switched on, and you've got your screws tightened up in your head, whereas I think you'll be able to work it out. So if we take this little linkage off, you'll see that the plastic bit on the end, this rod is threaded, and that turns and it'll go all the way around, right? So you need to play around with this. It's difficult to get hold of it when you've only got one hand. Really you need 2 hands, but this one's definitely seen better days. Look, it's all scratched up where I've had it off with the pliers over the years. So I need to get the throttle spring back on there. That's what happens. Some of you are asking what happens if you ain't got the throttle spring. See, there's no throttle connected, and that's tick over. It opens up by itself, and what happens is, I know we're going off topic a little bit, but what happens is this pops off, and then you get a runaway because this throttle does whatever it wants because it's not connected to nothing. So you can have the best radio gear in the world and it won't do a single thing. Anyway, back on the topic. You need to play with this, you need to twist it. You need to play with the trims on your transmitter to get your servo. You want it about 50%, you know, you want it halfway or in the middle for your brakes and your throttle, and then just play around with it. You want it so that when you let off the brake, the throttle doesn't rev up. But you want it as well so that when you push the brakes, you get sufficient braking. Because if you have it so that your throttle's being pushed closed all the time, but when you brake it won't go in enough to get any brakes. So you can set all that up how you think you want it, and then play around with this. You know, if you twist it so that this little plastic thing comes further in on the rod, you'll end up with having more throttle when you do full throttle, but then there's risk of when you put the brakes on and let go, it'll rev up when you let go. So you'll be braking and it'll go every time you let off the brakes. And if you have it twisted too far out, it'll be too long, and therefore you won't be getting full throttle when you're pulling full throttle. It'll only be going so far, but you probably will get very good brakes. So you've got to play around with it to get it just right. It takes time. The same as anything to do with a nitro engine or with a nitro car. It takes time to set up. So you know, that's the whole nature of nitro cars, is they do take time to set up. You have to play around with them. You have to set them up. You know, the more experienced you get, the quicker you can set them up. But they all take. Doesn't matter how. You might be thinking, oh, people know what they're doing. They set them up in no time. Yeah, they set them up quicker than people that don't know what they're doing do. But they still have to be set up. I mean, they come out of the box. It's very, very rare that you see a nitro car, a ready-to-run one, come out of the box with the brakes and the throttle and the steering. They're always going to one way or another. You never see them set up. A lot of people think that they're ready to run, put the fuel in, put the glow starter in, charge the batteries for the whatever, and away you go. Brake it, run it in, and away you go. Not true at all. Sometimes they do come pretty close to being good, but a lot of the time they're nowhere near it. And you'll have to play around with brake settings, the throttle settings. You know, you'll have to twist this little thing around. You just have to play around with it. So that's the little thing that you want to play with. I tell you what, this channel's full of more innuendos than any other channel I can ever think of. I don't even mean half of them. It's just I've got a bit of a dirty mind. So yeah, play around with that little linkage. There's no, I can't say like you need to have. A lot of people ask for, you know, a lot of people ask how long that little shaft should be. A lot of people say, like, how many mil of thread should be showing, or you know, how long should it be from the end of there to here? Well, you can't, you just can't do that, because every engine is different, every servo is different. You know, who's to say that they make these the same length in the factory when they make them? You can't do it like that. Every single one has to be set individually, so you have to play around with it yourself, you know, and just get it right yourself. That's the whole point of it. That's the idea of it, you know. That's part of the hobby. So yeah, that one there, and you'll get it pretty spot on after a little while. It won't take long. It's not going to be hours and hours of playing around with it. It'll be a little while. You'll get it there, and you'll have it exactly how you want it. Perfect. Anyway, you look, stay tuned. Once I get the radio gear for this, I'll do a full video on how to do the throttle linkages and that. But as I said, and I've said, and I've said, and I'll repeat again, I hope that little piece there, because a lot of people don't think about that little, what would you call that? It's got a name. It's on the edge of my tongue, but I can't think what it is. It's not a turnbuckle. It's another thing. Can't think what it is. Someone will come out with a random crazy name. Do you know what? You've got to be careful, right? Because it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of is in a way. A lot of people use different phrases and terminology from different countries, which is not native to their country. And a lot of people probably don't really care, do they? But I kind of do, because I believe in preserving each country. Because if every country uses the same words and terminology, everything's going to merge together. And the mysteries and the wonders and the good and bad parts of every country isn't going to be there anymore. So I think it's important to keep the terminology the same in different to each country, if that makes sense. So if you hear things, you know, make sure excuse me, if you hear things people call things, like in America they call spanners, we call them spanners here. Have I got one? Have I got one? Hold on. Like that. Right, this here is a spanner, right? In America, Canada, who knows where else. I don't know about Australia. They call them spanners in Australia, I think, from watching Australians TV programs and YouTube videos. They call them spanners as well, but they're wrenches in in America and in Canada, right? But there's spanners here. When I hear people in this country that are English call this a wrench, I'm like, no, dude, this is a spanner. Do you know what I mean? Just because, not because it's a bad thing, but just because it's what it's called in this country, man. Just keep it here. So, whatever you call this thing, that rod thing there, that might be specific to what you would call it in your country. I mean, who knows? But anyway, once I get all this sorted out, I'll do a full video on it, and yeah, enjoy life. I'm just about to try and sort out a lot of the stuff that's in these bags. All different bits and bobs, different spares. Try and, oh look, there's some body R clips. I'm going to try and sort out all of these, put them in different piles and things that I don't want or need. I'm going to put into a bag, and just to give away, you know, if I'm ever around somebody and they need something, I'll be like, there you go, have that, that's yours. I like doing that. I always have a little box or a bag of stuff that I don't want or need, and rather than throw it away, I'll give it away to somebody. Now, if I'm ever with somebody out and about or whatever, talking to somebody and they're like, oh man, I need this or I need that, I'm like, don't worry, I've got that and you can have it. It's better than throwing it away. So that's what I'll always do. So yeah, there we go. I'll catch you on the next one, you lot. Thanks for joining me. Ciao for now. Don't forget, giveaway in probably 100 years time. Who knows?